Hi there, this is Al, and this is tutorial number, uh, oh, I'm going to get to that in a minute. Let's see now, all this stuff had to do with other things. 145, where we will, according to the title, I've written the title somewhere, press on with the editor project. But first I wanted to point something out. And it's not the reason for all these little locks. That's something else. But, well, a couple of things. One, these tutorials in themselves are probably going to take a little longer for me to prepare, since it seems to have become a habit of mine to present for you at each tutorial a new and interesting picture. And today's picture is what I'm calling a fashion statement. That is, I wanted to make a statement about fashion, and so I made a wallpaper. If I can get to it, Windows M. Here is a collage I've put together, various models. I think 3 of them are the same model, or they may all be the same model. In different outfits and various settings, looking in differently, in different ways. But what I'd like to point out about this fashion stuff, I just want to get rid of that, is that fashion seems to be all about pretty women, or sexy women, or something, or whatever. But I think that this kind of beauty, if you want to call it, is very common. Well, at least in the media. That's what this is. I was looking at this page here, and at your typical, this is actually a typical fashion look, right? I mean, this is the standard look. It's rare that you actually see an interesting thing. Well, that's actually quite interesting, that one. It's not too bad. It's not particularly pretty, and it's a lousy outfit. But, this kind of stuff is really dime a dozen, They're all over the place. Oh my gosh, she's skinny. You don't see much, like, you could say this. Now, to me, it is an interesting looking picture. But there's tons of interesting pictures of women, And it's very rare to see something that I find interesting. Actually, this is the same outfit. This must be the same one on my wallpaper. This one. Because I guess I'm looking at, a particular person, Natty Chabenko. So that must be, she must have done a series of these blue bar. Well, I should probably download this one then. Now, in order to download them, you better click on it, and then scroll underneath here and save the image. Sometimes the image disappears, but you can always download it. If you copy the link, and they're pretty good quality images. Bigger than my screen. This is F for fashion, I think. That one was this. So it's quite big. 1600 high. Unfortunately, nothing in the widescreen format that I've ever seen. So I don't know why you would use a single. Actually, it's quite a nice picture, isn't it? Let's have a closer look at that. Yeah. Can I zoom? No. I can zoom unless I make it. Maybe I can zoom and then click the full screen. No. I can do it with the Paint Shop program. Not important. Now, I think that these sorts of images, as nice as they are, I guess I made a mistake there. This would need to be redone. And there should be some. I should have clipped out that gray bit too. But are not nearly as interesting to me as like this one. This is a part of an. This is part of. I can't fit the full image, but in one of my other collages, this girl is on the side, already filling up almost the entire, at least half of the image. But this is a kind of picture that says something. I don't know what it says exactly, but it's saying something more than just I'm a girl and I'm smoking a cigarette. It's a reminder of a lost time period. It's probably not. No. I thought this might have been like a little slave girl, or she could be a slave girl or something. Looks like it. But this kind of stuff is all over the place. You can find it anywhere. And I'm thinking about these wallpapers and what kinds of images I could put up besides the pretty women. I don't know about the male-female distribution people watching these videos, but my guess is mostly male who would enjoy looking at pretty women, but there are other things in the universe besides pretty women. What would an alien put on its computer screen for a background? It'd be a picture of more aliens, probably. It's alien girlfriend or something. So maybe next time I can try and come up with something that isn't a pretty lady, but still, I'll put it back to what it was as my fashion statement. You'll note how, as well, that I changed some icons on my screen. And it's just a coincidence that they happen to fit almost perfectly with her. Like, you can't see virtual dub at all through the tattoos. It looks very similar. And these colors are, if I put this here, no, I put that there. You could barely see it, right? This could be part of the bar. I put that here. Almost fits. And I try to reduce the I get so interested in my wallpapers now, I don't want to see the text underneath. I tried to see if you could set the text to nothing, and no, it doesn't like that. It needs a name, and it needs to print it for some reason. Now you see, yeah, it's funny. Well, let me take this one instead. See, like if this is here, I don't like it anymore because it's pointing the wrong way. But I used that GIMP to, this one's actually a mirror image of wherever it is. I don't know if I still have it in pen. I'll take them out of here. I don't plan to delete that directory. I could temporarily take the, yeah, see that one's pointing that way. Well, okay, there's one pointing the other way. So, you know, I could do that. So now it looks good. In fact, I'm perfectly set up to have one in each corner. I only have 4 icons. If I want, but no, that one's pointing the wrong way. What I'd like to have it back to is its original. Where I don't know where it is. It would have been in Program Files. Paint Shop Pro. Would that be C for Corel? This is Program Files exe. It's got to be in here somewhere. I think the original is that of a camera. Yeah, there it is. Unfortunately, this stupid program put its icon in the global icon area so that it appears on every, you make a new desktop and everyone gets one of these. And so if I change this image, I'm changing it for everyone. I don't like that. I prefer link in my own personal desktop. But I can't delete this, because if I delete this, then it would be gone from the global desktop. And I could hide it, I guess, and make another link. That's an idea. Okay. Now that's one thing. I want to get all the unrelated stuff out of the way first. Another thing I wanted to mention was, see, I have this batch file. I have a batch file, believe it or not, for making backups. For the source code backups. I think it's called C backup. So now I've always had these 3 choices. The default now used to be source. This. Hang on a sec. I think this is wrong now. Zip root source lib. That is there is. Okay. I used to have another one for my source 3. That's where I could add it. But anyway, depending on which, if I want to do a full backup of all my various source directories and my global libs, then I say all. And if I want just the stuff to do with the tutorial, it'll go into here. See, it's called C backup, so it's supposed to be only stuff to do with C++. I guess I better add extra possibility. I think I called it source 3. S3. In that case, the source for that is located in source root CPP. So I'm getting them all mixed up now. I have a link to it. I did. Oh yeah, now it's source all. That's the thing I want to show you, but not yet. I know how to get there without revealing my new secret. Okay. It's not there. Where did I put it? Where did I put those links? Oh. In just the wrong place. Hang on a second, I'm going to pause this. Okay. Source 3 is the source root. See, I thought I was going to originally have more than C++ as the various kinds of flavors of source code that one might be interested in. Like there could be assembler and Java and HTML and all that sort of thing. So CPP was one category, and then source, and then source 3. The reason for that, I guess, is it turned out that I had a couple versions of the same source, and so really this shouldn't be called source. It should stop it. The 3 should be here. But anyway, it's all wrongly organized. But well, that's what leads to the second thing I wanted to mention. So here I've got this batch file, and I used to have this all, and what all would do would it would include let's see now. We couldn't have included that and that because they're not in the same subfolder. It just, oh, okay. So all at one point for me just meant lib and source. Like I thought this was where all my CPP stuff would go. And then for some other dumb reason I decided that the tutorial thing would go under its own special directory because this would be like a temp, right? Now, of course, this is the main source directory, and this stuff is backups, pretty much. So I can't do the all and include the tutorials. I could include tutorials and call that all, but that wouldn't be very meaningful because I've already got one. I can already specify this. So I was thinking, and I thought, well, I suppose I could move that, but then there's source safe, and I got to worry about the source safe database knows to look here for this, and knows to look there for that, and it's a great big mess that I didn't want to clean up. Still, I wanted to be able to zip up all the code. So what I did, believe it or not, is I made a junction. Remember junctions? And Well, first I made a regular old directory called all source and libs. Yeah, and the reason being because I don't think I can, like cumulatively add two to a junction. Well, I want one. This is now, let's say, the root of all the source folders. So without moving anything, he's created 3 junctions. One that contains, it points to libs. One that points to my, what I call source 3 previously. And one that points to the tutorial source. Now all I got to do is run my regular old C backup on this folder, include all. And I did. And it works. Now, here's the interesting bit. The next interesting bit, I think it's interesting anyway, about these junctions is, and I hadn't looked before. And I suppose you can probably do it with any old directory. I bet you can do it with any directory. But look how they appear in here. These are my junctions. It says folder, right? But it's got a little, like a shortcut link picture. But I know it's not a shortcut because if you go here, I do have some actual shortcuts, and it says shortcut, right? These are little .lnk files, just like these things on these things are short. Well, not this, maybe, but that's a shortcut. It's a shortcut. But these are definitely, and that's a shortcut. But these are not shortcuts, or it doesn't say so. It's a junction. No. So I thought, well, that's all. How come I don't see this little icon in here? Because I know all sorts of stuff in here. And I don't know how they hide the fact. But if you, okay, these are all just hidden, I see. Application data. These are junctions that are hidden. Start menu, is that there? No, right? It's not there. Now, my documents is a junction. But it doesn't, oh, okay. But it's not hidden, it's not hidden. Right? I know that that's actually just document. But the way they've hidden, or whatever they've done, they've given them special icons. So I figured it must be, maybe you can do it with any directory, but these in particular, maybe you can give them an icon. Okay, so let's see. Properties, and then customize, and then it says, okay, change icon. Now I need something that looks like a library. Now what looks like a library? Better to browse through my special directory here. Let's see, middle library. And this also brings me to that point about that great big picture with the funny seeming dirtiness to it. Here, you see this? You see all these little speckly things? I don't know how clear it is to you, but if I wish can I move this bigger? Yeah. You don't see that here at all. Okay. Now it's the same icon, it's the same size. Now, I'm almost 100% certain that this is the way it used to look like this, correct? Right? Until I installed that GIMP. And I think that these speckly things, just as in that other image, are because GIMP, now I want to open this with GIMP. We'll make a link to it for the 10th. So I've been putting things lately. So I don't want to use that one now. I'm looking for a library. Find the library first. Books like a library. Oh no, but it's got to have it look like a folder. A lot of them have, I think, IE shells, so we want to be IH, then IE frame, sorry. See, there's like a folder that looks like searching. Here's a folder that looks like time. We have a folder that looks like a library. Maybe it doesn't have to. Maybe it'll acquire a part photo, part IE frame. I don't know how to. Well, I'm going to find out soon enough. I'm not going to spend. Sorry, I'm just wasting your time like that. Okay, well, let's just choose one. Something interesting, at least. Minimum. Unfortunately, there are a lot of repeats because a lot of these programs use the same eyes. They just copy each other's icons. Okay. Get out of IE frame. Okay. Now this is interesting. Oh, cell phone. Okay. Okay. No, well, it's still got the link. That's why what you want is one of those ones that looks like a folder, right? And that's, I think, no, but their thing don't have the link. See? So that isn't. How come their junctions don't have a little link on them? I want it to look either like a regular folder or not a link. How about this? Oh no, I don't do anything with that. Choose a file to show. Oh, folder pick. And this folder. Now I'm really lost. JPEG, PNG, etc. Why? There are lots of pictures. How about this? GIF. It takes GIFs. Maybe it'll animate. Okay, we'll take that. No, it didn't. No. Now what's happened? Oh, I see. No, no, that's just. Okay, I'm sorry. I've probably done some terrible thing to my system. Getting back to reality, partly reality. I did some things with the code, the one we're working on, and I probably wasted too much time already. Half an hour wasted. Okay, I'm not going to be able to say much then at this point. Let me just point something out then before this won't be it. It'll be the next one. Remember that change I made here, right? To the for the contracting of the. I made this change, and that allows me to have contracted file names in this list. And what I had forgotten, or hadn't realized anyway, was that I was relying on the text in this list control in order to retrieve paths. But I haven't put the paths in there. Right? The paths are in the registry and then they get filled in here. So what I had here was a case of, again, data duplication. And in this case, because I had coded it to be list box centric, right? That is relying on the data in the list box instead of relying on the real data. The only one and only piece of data that's important, which is the actual list of files, it stopped working. You know, I could go to these things. I realized that at first, and then I realized I had to take the item out of the registry according to its index. But then I also realized that, but what if I do this? And I found it came up with dots, right? And it wouldn't work. But then I thought, geez, well, I mean, okay, so I fixed that bug, but maybe there's another bug to do with the same reason. So in order to, this is a good trick you can apply when this sort of situation comes up, and you've done something horribly wrong, and that is you've essentially you've made a mistake in your design, and you want to find out where every instance that mistake might hit you, where that is, right? And how do you do that? This is especially important in a very large project. The little project like this doesn't matter so much. But in a huge project, a change like adding those dots, just adding those little contracted paths, could be a big problem. Because some bits of the program are using this. You have the data duplication. You get some parts of the programming using this set of data, and other parts using another set of data. Sound familiar? Well, the way to approach fixing a problem like that, one of the ways that I tend to go about doing it. First, I know that I can't rely on this text anymore, right? one thing I could do is completely alter this menu class. That's an option, so that it has a contract file names option for its display, but internally it will keep the same data. But if you don't want to do that, or if you don't have access to that code, what you can do is do like I've done here. We already have this menu. So now I'm going to make another class instead of using this one directly and derive privately from this menu, right? Well, here I've done it through a macro. I'm just forwarding the functions to here for all of the ones that I want to permit my program to use. The forward just return, this is if there's one argument. This is if there's zero arguments. Now one way is to just don't implement anything and just keep going until you've caught them all, until it compiles. But I can see most of what they are. So I put in all the ones. But the one I don't want the program to retrieve any strings from this menu. So those ones are private. It can get the count, you can add separators, you can empty it out, you can find positions, get string with ID. Now why am I allowing that one? Yeah, see that? I am allowing that one, but I know that I'm okay with it. I should just change this code that uses that. Oh, I see. It's just for an assertion. So that should be okay. That's fine. If it's just an assertion, that's okay. You can allow it in debug mode. And you put that in a separate category of functions that we might use in debug mode. Right? Now, nothing that's being used by the program, assuming this compiles again, will are retrieving and using strings from the menu, and that's been guaranteed. There's no possibility of access to those strings. So that's a handy trick to use if you want to locate all places where you're doing some bad thing or something you know is not going to work. Then you make a class and only derive privately from the class with the problem, and only expose those functions that are safe. And that also, while that's compiling, I can show you another use for this kind of private derivation stuff is when you want to make something that has a lot of the characteristics of one thing, but has another property that might be useful in some instances. Like this here, ts string I is a ts string basically, where all of its comparisons are case insensitive. So double equals is an insensitive, case insensitive and the find and count and search replace and everything are case insensitive versions, which I have that in TS-string. But so why would I need another class? Well, imagine if you made a list using these types of strings rather than regular strings, right? Then, if it was a list of path names or something, and you wanted to search for a particular path name in the list, you can just use the regular find, right? You don't need to. The find function doesn't know about strings or anything. It just says if this is equal to that, then return. So a list of these objects, and I even, just to prove it to myself that it was working, I used it in here while I was doing this. Menu contains string. I didn't get the string from the registry, and I put them all to lowercase and then added them to a list of these new types of strings just to see if it's working, and it's working fine. So the return value of this is find string, just the regular list find. Okay, now that's part of the test that it compiled. That's good. And I knew it was going to compile because it was already debug mode. Make sure it compiles and release. And in fact, I could put something in this declaration here, else, some kind of else, or no, some kind of warning here, right? This function is only for debug mode. I could have it trace out these kinds of reminders wherever I'm using this. So I might do that. But it looks like we're okay. So that's a trick that I use quite often. If you find yourself in a bind and you're trying to locate all instances of something for whatever reason, and if you're lucky that something happens to be a function in a class, simply eliminate the possibility of that function being called by this. Just whatever you are using, just pass it on through, or you compile. Okay, so I'll leave that there. That was one of the things, and oh yes, was the reason why I mentioned that, is that's going to come up. Well, I don't know if this. No, this one doesn't have a recent list. The debug version. Those dots would be useful, wouldn't you think, in our little editor thing? I mean, look at this big mess. Well, turns out that if we use the same thing in this program, we won't have any of those issues. Why? Because we don't have any duplication in this program. This program only ever refers to the registry for these things. it never reads these strings from here at any point. So we'd already taken care of that problem here. Oops. And some of these files don't exist anymore. Dogs. Oh, shadows. Oh, I got rid of this folder. Now those should disappear when that happens. And I've added a bunch of things, like shift delete. It's the same as cut and so on. I remove the redo. There's no redo, and I'd like to get to finding out how to make these gray. Which I'm sure there's nothing to that. And then I want to do save as. But I want to do save as using one of those dialogues. And what I would like is a little checkbox in the, these magic dialogues that are provided from the operating system. They can be customized, and you can add your own controls. You can add a custom control to this dialogue. And I was thinking of a little checkbox that would say, remember this directory. That way, for programs that are the kinds of programs where you would want to remember where you last saved something, you can turn that on. Otherwise, you can leave it off. So I'd like to do both those things next time. Okay, see you. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't let you have another look at the girls. Aren't they pretty? Or she, sorry, it's just one girl. I don't know if this is I don't think this is a copyright infringement thing, because those were publicly available online. So, and they're not, it doesn't say anything about copyright. Even in that text that you can't read, all that says is something, it's not in English anyway. Looks like Italian or something like that. In oblique curve, it actually looks like, I don't know what it is. Okay, see you later.